I just marveled that he's like out there warming up at the boulder. It's a V17 with like tiny holds on it, and it's freezing outside, and he's got a little heater, and he's like somehow warming up to climb V17 just at the boulder with like a little hangboard.
Yeah,
I'm like, that doesn't make any sense to me. It's crazy.
To be fair, it is the warm-up game is like one of the crucial parts of it. I think it's really difficult to get right. We spent a lot of time, like all of us have been trying it out there, but especially with Sean, like debating it, trying to work out what's best, because you bring a fingerboard and you fingerboard a bit, and then you don't want to do too much because you don't want to get tired, but you also can't try the boulder much because it even if it doesn't feel like it on some of the moves, it takes it out of you so much more than you realize. So it's like it was like warming up on the fingerboard and then trying to do as few moves as possible on the boulder, but just enough to feel ready to try from the start. Because as soon as you pull on from the start, you're essentially on a single, because the first move is so hard. But yeah, if you like fall off a move in your warm up and you then retry it, you're like, it gets in your head. You're like, oh man, have I already blown the session? Like, am I going to be too tired? So yeah, it's really hard to actually get the warm up right, I think, for it.
Yeah, that really fine line there between being ready and not tiring yourself out. I think that was maybe one of the most interesting things that you talked about with Tom is that last move. It's so precise. Like, you want to rehearse it every session. You want it to be fresh in your body. You want to feel the sensation of sticking it. But then, like, well, what if you warm up and then you like miss the move if you tried in isolation? Is that going to totally fuck with you? And like, is it going to take too much of your skin? And yeah, it just seems like such a complex game to play out there.
Yeah, that last move, it really gets in your head. It's because I reckon like as a single move, it's maybe like an 8A boulder problem, like a one move 8A.
Wow.
And the left hand that you jump off, you put a lot of force into, and it has like a spike that cuts into your index. So you don't want to try it too much because and also you don't want to like full commit to trying it, because if you really try, you're worried you're just going to split. And then the hold you jump to, you can easily miss, and if you like miss it by just a couple millimeters or whatever, you can quite easily fall off. If you do it perfectly, it feels not that bad though. And it's that sort of thing where you're warming up to try, you're like, oh, if I just half commit to the move, I'm probably going to fall off it, and then that's not going to help me get warmed up at all. But if I full commit to it, then I'm worried about my skin, and like if I full commit and fall off, that's like even worse. So
yeah,
it was interesting.
Going back to the warm up, the hangboard makes sense. What do you do to get the rest of your body ready for there's like the compression element of it? Because from what I understand, talking to Aiden about this boulder, the holds are flat, they're not in cut, and you have to like squeeze really hard between them to get the springiness in your body. How do you warm up the rest of your body for something so hard?
I disagree a bit with that. I'd say the holds are mostly in cut.
Okay.
But the warming up, everything is, I found it was the fingers mostly for the warm up. Everything else felt normally not so bad. So yeah, fingerboard, I'd like just like chill 2 hands till it starts to feel good, start to go in the one hand till I was like feeling confident the one arm hangs. I do 1 or 2 where I'd be like in different lock off positions as well to sort of activate shoulders a bit. And then basically the sort of standard warm up I do on the boulder, I'd pull on the first left hand hold and the second hold, the one you do the big like jump to, and just pull on to the wall, not like move or do anything, just pull on for like 2 or 3 seconds and come off. And that kind of would
just hold that position.
That was like savage on the fingers as well, but that I think like helped warm up a bit. And then fourth move, which is probably the most like, because the when you do the third move, the pinch that you go to is like the least in cut hold, but because it's the easiest move, I guess, pull on there, do that move 1 time. Basically, just do 1 move each time, but other than just pulling on at the start and like holding the position. But that, I don't know. When I'm warming up on the fingerboard, to be fair, before I even put shoes on, in between each go, I'd go over and feel holds, and you kind of like go through the moves, like slightly pulling on the holds, if that makes sense, with your feet still on the floor. But yeah, I never found that I needed to do any extra exercises to warm up my legs or body anything other than the fingerboard, then just trying the moves a couple of times.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. Another thing that I was really surprised about from your conversation with Tom is you talking about how good of training trying the actual boulder was. It seems so precise and so limit. I mean, for most of your sessions, you're like not actually doing that much rock climbing. You're like trying the first move, missing it, falling, resting, trying the first move, missing it, falling, over and over again. And it's surprising to me that felt like quality training.
The sessions changed a lot because obviously the first 3 I live streamed and I put up on YouTube, and the first one's an hour long, I think. Second one's 2 hours long. Third one's only an hour again. And then because my skin got really bad from there, the sessions would have been warm up. And I don't know if it was premature, maybe, but I started going for like Sengos like from the 4th session. And yeah, I basically kept just cutting my fingers open straight away. So the sessions are like really short, like 4 or 5. And then session like 6, 7 were really long because I climbed just tape on most fingers and just used them as training.
What did that look like? I imagine you can't actually do all the moves with tape on your fingers. So what did those training sessions look like? Are you just holding positions over and over again?
Yeah, a mix. Like I posted a video on Instagram at one point, which was just me holding the pinch, which is like when you stick the third move. So pinch of the right hand, and then I literally just like monoing the hold under that you go off, and just like campus pulling on and just holding the position. With a lot of tape, I was able. You could do the 4th move, okay, because it's like not so bad, and you're a lot on the feet. So do that a lot. Would try the 3rd move a lot, but basically always fall off. Maybe once or twice a session I would stick it, and then I try the last move a lot. And the last move's a lot harder with tape because you obviously don't get to bite into the hold, but it is possible if you hit the next hold right. So I had one session where I did the last move 10 times.
Wow.
10 times? Yeah, about 10 times. Maybe just under, maybe 8 or something.
Wow.
With a lot of tape. And it was the sort of thing where I was like, nice, getting this really refined. This is like going to be great. And then, of course, like the first session, I took tape off, I like fell off the last move the first 3 times in a row. And I was like, oh no. Like, but then in the end, when I was coming to the last couple sessions where it was like the good sessions where I was getting good red point goes, they were looking short fingerboard, super short warm up where I do each move 1 time, and then giving maximum 5 goes from the start. I had one where I gave 1 go, like tore the skin on my pinky on that go and just stopped. It's like it was like a two days rest before the session.
Oh my god!
Turn up, warm up, have 1 go, and be like, right, that's another at least 1, if not 2 days rest.
Wow, so annoying.
But
man.
Yeah, so just the sessions got really short.
Got really short. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, you're just in peak performance mode, trying to get it done. What was the state of your skin when you actually sent the boulder?
Pretty good. So all the sort of points where all the worst bits for your skin, like the holds, were not perfect. So there's like a spike on the first hold that gets the left ring finger, and that was a little thin. Same with the skin on the right ring finger and pinky. They were both thin, but like didn't need to tape. Like they were good enough to try. And they weren't. I was thinking I'd get a couple goes before they cut open, so I have a couple goes and then stop, which is basically what I've been doing each session. So yeah, my skin was actually fairly good. I think as good as I could have got it without taking a silly amount of rest days.